himself. But he's a guy who you really should listen to because so many politicians let us down. This isn't a politician. This is a guy who said, well, if somebody has to go, send me. So Adrian Wyllie, everybody.
Thanks, Josh. And I tell you what, he's on the money. He's absolutely right. That is one of the most important things that we can do to end the system, is to get out there, find your own path, don't be reliant upon anyone else for your prosperity. That is so critical. I'm a small business owner. I encourage everyone here, quit worrying about a job and start finding a way to build that on your own, because that is one of the most crucial steps that we can all do to make these guys irrelevant. Now, one thing we know for sure, one thing that I am absolutely convinced of, the federal government will never end the Federal Reserve. Period. It is not going to happen. If you believe that, you're kidding yourself. The reason being is it does so many things that benefits the people in the federal government. It gives them a blank checkbook so that they can forever spend to retain their power and continue to put it on you and your kids and your grandkids. That's never going away. The banks behind the Federal Reserve are able to create money out of thin air and put it in their pockets. Do you think they have any incentive to change it? It's never going to happen. Go into the federal government, go into your congressman, electing the right president to office, that's all great, but it's never going to end the system. There's only one way that we can do it, and there's two components to it. The one way that we can do it is to nullify it, individually and on a state level.
Here, here.
That's the only way we can do it. The way we nullify it individually, we stop using their currency. We find alternative currencies. I don't care if it's gold, silver, bitcoins. I don't care if you're trading chickens. That's what we need to do. Stop using the Federal Reserve notes. That's what we can do on an individual level, because the only way that we're going to get our country back, our state back, our inherent inalienable rights back, and our prosperity back is to nullify these things by disobeying, not playing their game. The other thing that we can do is on a state level. How many of you are familiar with Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution? It says, okay, good. I figured Ken would be. It says something that is absolutely amazing. And it says something that every single state in the Union is violating every single day. Article 1, Section 10 says, among other things, that states shall use no thing but gold and silver coin as a tender in payment of debt. Let me say that again. The United States Constitution says that states shall use nothing but gold and silver coin. Period. Can you imagine what would happen if the states actually followed the Constitution? Next thing you know, the Federal Reserve would be no more. And that's one of the reasons that I'm running for governor, because I want to implement competing currencies in the state of Florida, let you transact business in any currency that you mutually agree on with whomever you're trading. And I also want to get our state back to a constitutional currency. Let's convert our Federal Reserve notes into gold and silver coin. It's as simple as that. Next thing you know, we've created an alternative economy. We've taken control of the economy, and we've done it completely within the law and within the Constitution. And these guys can do quantitative easing and fractional reserve lending, and they can continue trying to make a profit off of inflation and off of your children's prosperity, but it's not going to work anymore because people aren't using their currency anymore. That's the only way we're going to do it. That's the kind of mindset that we have to have. We have to have a mindset where we disobey. And not just on that one area, but we need to disobey anything that is not a proper authority of government, anything that is not a proper role of government, anything that is unconstitutional. It's time, because we are running out of time. The federal government is lost. Absolutely lost. There is no way to save it with the exception of restoring, changing the United States of America back to these United States of America. We need to restore our nation to a conglomerate of states bound together by a contract. The United States Constitution is a contract, and they're violating it.
Amen.
And there's no repercussions from the federal government. The repercussions can only come from the states. That's what we need to do.
Excuse me.
So I'm encouraging everyone out there, take that personal stand. I want you to consider something very, very serious. Look around your life today. And look at all the areas where your inalienable rights are being violated, where your constitutional rights are being violated. And then I want you to consider this. How many of these rights are I consenting to them taking? How many of these rights am I just voluntarily sacrificing by complying? How many? The thing that woke me up, the one thing that made me decide to begin to disobey was Real ID. That was my personal fight. I said, what, you're telling me to renew my driver's license, I have to subject to a facial recognition scan? And you're going to scan all my personal documents that would normally require a warrant because I have the right to be secure in my papers and effects? You're asking me to voluntarily surrender that right in order to gain what you call a privilege from the state? That was my point. That's where I took a stand, and that's why I surrendered my driver's license and continue to drive around the state of Florida without one. But I'm asking each of you, find that one thing. Find that one thing. If you own a small business, start taking competing currencies. Just do it. Just do it. And when the government comes along and tells you you can't do that, ask them why. Show me the law. Show it to me. And if they find some regulatory thing that says you can't do it, say, well, wait a second, here's Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. It says I can't use anything but gold or silver coin. You know, that's how we need to take a stand. And that's how we're going to board up these buildings and put them up for sale and lease. That's how we're going to do it. Stop complying. Do not comply. That's what we need to do. The Federal Reserve is going to take us off the fiscal cliff, and they know it. It is their game plan. And if you folks have seen an uptick in the police state recently, this is a plan. This is a 100-year plan that was set in place in 1913. And it's coming to the end game. There's not a lot of time left before that inflation cycle starts going to the exponential curve. And the next step from there is hyperinflation. Happened in Zimbabwe, happened in the Weimar Republic. It's beginning to happen right now in the Argentine peso. And it's going to happen to the U.S. dollar. And no matter how many emails you send to your congressman, and no matter how many phone calls you make to your senator's office, and no matter who you vote for president, it's not going to matter because they're not going to stop it. Only you can stop it. So I'm urging you, please, if you take nothing else away from here today, find that one thing. Find that one thing in your life, disobey. Do not comply. Do not volunteer your rights away. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah.